Okay, Dan. So Dominique, she left. She's got to come back later.
Okay.
But anyway, we can go ahead and start the two of us right now. We did introduce you earlier today to people, but anyway, just so that maybe they get it from you. We mentioned that you're working right now at Tynker, and maybe what we're looking forward to getting to know from you today is maybe what can they do with Tynker? How is how has Tynker been in a way now that we're going on distance learning? How can it be used, and a lot about also how it's integrated to Google Classroom. Most of our users are Google users, so I think that's also an interesting thing to look at.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. I've dressed up my Star Wars background for Star Wars. I guess we're calling it Star Wars Week now.
Yeah.
But I'm Daniel Rezac. I'm one of the senior education lead at Tynker, and one of the I was a science teacher, Google certified innovator, person in my area here in Chicago, around Chicago. And very excited about just STEM and how it can, integrate into core coursework and stuff like that. And I don't know, how many of you are all familiar with Hour of Code, but that's where I learned about Tynker. I started doing Hour of Code and Computer Science Education Week. And the more I kind of dug in to Hour of Code, I saw that Tynker was just all over that. And I wanted to work not just with my own school, but I wanted to really make a difference in schools all around the world. And I found that Tynker was really having an impact. So Tynker is now one of the leading computer science curricula for coding. So often, I see teachers all over the place, dabbling with coding with their students. And Tynker's great for dabbling, but it's also great for when you want to just dig in real deep. And from pre-K all the way to high school. We have one of our partners is Google, and so we've integrated with Google Classroom. I'll definitely show you a little bit of that today. But yeah, right now we have like 600 hours of coursework, and it's just keeps growing. We're adding high school coursework over the summer for getting ready for fall. And it just continues to grow.
One of the things that I usually hear from teachers when you talk with them about coding is that they consider it like a limiting factor, that like, I don't know how to code, how can I teach coding? That's something that we get a lot from teachers when you let them know, hey, what about introducing coding to your students? The first thing usually they'll go at, they say, I don't know anything about it. So I'm assuming you've got resources also to support teachers in order to integrate it, and it's not going to be like a burden on them to get to do coding. That's what I'm on.
Oh, absolutely not. In fact, one of the things, I integrated coding into my last school district, and I integrated Tynker, and one of the biggest features of Tynker was the fact that any teacher could adapt it or adopt it. When I started teaching coding way back in like 2009, so 10, 11 years ago, it was really challenging to get any of my fellow teachers to try anything. So if I was the tech teacher at the time, but if I wanted to collaborate on a history project or collaborate on a Spanish but like a world language project or anything like that, they just seemed very overwhelmed by the tools at the time. And Tynker's curriculum is just something that, now I could put it in the hands of a elementary teacher, and within a couple of weeks, they can be on their own teaching computer science. It's not the way that it is arranged, the way that the lesson plans are just laid out. We basically give teachers everything they need to be successful. And it's just I was amazed, because I've done Google, I've integrated Google, Chromebooks, everything, all that stuff, and to see teachers be able to adapt something or adopt something so quickly and just say, hey, we're doing great, this Tynker thing is fine, is really rare. It's a really rare thing.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. It usually takes time, but it's nice to see, and well, hopefully you let us see why it is this way.
Oh, absolutely. You bet. I will. So, would you like me to give you an overview?
Yeah, sure. Let's start with like an overview, and yeah, I as you go, I'll also try and translate some in Spanish through the chat.
All right. Well, let me share my screen, and I'll kind of break things down for you as well. All right. And I don't want to hurt anybody with PowerPoint, so I'll show a few slides, just kind of give you an overview, and then we'll crack things open to so that everyone has a chance to actually see the tools and curriculum.
Yeah, I think that sounds fun.
Here we go. All right, share screen. I can do it. Got it. Give me a choice. Wonderful. All right, so you can see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, wonderful. All right, so let me give you kind of the broad overview of Tynker. So what is Tynker? Tynker is a lot of things. And hopefully you'll be surprised. This is always one of those things, if you've dabbled with coding, you'll be surprised at really what is under the hood with Tynker. There's so many things. One of the things I was just amazed to discover was that Tynker is comprehensive, right? So it's not just a few hours of code exercises. There's 600 hours of standards-based coding coursework. So now last year we launched Tynker Junior. So students who are pre-readers can do coding so now we've covered that. There's like 10 courses for pre-readers. There's block coding coursework, and then it transitions to syntax by the time they get, in the middle grades, and then high school, we get into advanced computer science. And we have new stuff for high school too. So it's super comprehensive. And the main goal behind Tynker, is we want to help build the next generation of makers. But we're also focused on mastery. This is a difference between all the other tools and platforms out there. Is our focus on mastery is really so much different. The other piece that I like a lot, because as a tech integrator and tech coach, I want to see coding, I want to see technology being used in the core courses. So like English and science and math and social studies. That's the best way to see technology flourish. And so Tynker has these STEM courses which integrate into every subject area. So that was key for me. It was like, wow, now we can, create an electronics project or something that shows my mastery of a particular science unit. And I always thought that was really great. The other piece also is just a great Gradebook. I'll show you the Gradebook here too. It's basically an automatic assessment piece. But Tynker, we integrate with a lot of different pieces of hardware. So one of our latest is the microbit. And I like this because it's we have 2 courses for microbit, but it's also super simple. Like this, I could get a 3rd grader to code in a microbit in a minute. I swear I've done it. So the ability to be able to have students be able to now integrate hardware and code for hardware is totally there. And it's just, it's really accessible. And these are super cheap. They're not like expensive. So that's a big piece. We also integrate with drones. We also integrate with like Spheros, and we have course tutorials inside Minecraft. So if you use Minecraft as a teaching tool, you can code in Tynker in Minecraft. So that's cool. And then of course, all this block and text coding coursework to build students to mastery. So you see like the whole pipeline from pre-reader all the way to high school. And as long as kind of students stay on a path, they're going to build those mastery skills all along the way. You see here, this is kind of just a visual representation of our coursework from pre-reader all the way to advanced Python. In the summer, you should see that there's a few new offerings for high school. In fact, we are kind of teasing them because we have a high school bundle for coursework. And then these extensions, which are awesome, but you have drones. If you have any hardware like Lego, we have an augmented reality course, so you can actually it just integrates with a camera on a Chromebook. So whether you have iPads or Chromebooks, you can use the augmented reality course, and it's really cool. Advanced Python, advanced MicroPython for this little guy, and then a beginner 101 series for Microbit. And then there's the Barbie course, which everyone loves the Barbie course too. And then, of course, Minecraft. So this is just a snapshot of our coursework. Actually, right now, we just updated our pre-reader stuff, so there's 10 experiences there. But it's pretty device agnostic for the most part. Whether you have Chromebooks, that's great. Whether you have another device, you can get it on the web, tablets, that type of thing. There's 2 tablet options. So you have Tynker Junior and you have the red Tynker app, which teachers, if they assign coursework, it'll show up in the red app as well. So that's really exciting. And this is my other kind of favorite little piece, and that is the STEM coding coursework. So basically, we have 2 libraries of STEM projects from 3rd through 5th and 6th through 8th. We kind of leveled them that way, from life science, physical science, math, social studies, English. I actually did one of these projects in my last school, and this is just an example of a timeline. So one of the things I find, I want to work with a colleague. I want to see coding happen in a subject area that's not particularly a tech subject, but I want to see students apply their knowledge in these areas using code. So we think of code as a language, right? So it's just like a foreign language in a lot of ways. And so this is an example of a timeline. Teachers love to use timelines. And so in this case, we have a project that teachers can use and students can use to build a timeline project for a history project. So that's one example. Another might just be a book report. So we all do book reports. And in this case, you can now use Tynker. You can now use code as your method of telling your story and showing your mastery of a book that you read. So this is just a great option. And now that students will have, they will have great literacy, coding literacy skills. This was just going to be another option for them anytime they do a project in their, I say English, but language class, however we call that. So that's a big piece, I think, for me. There's an addition. There's just hundreds of other options of extra projects. If a student gets to the end of the course, they can go to our Hour of Code page, and you can reward them with more projects. So just a lot of different options there. There's a custom gradebook. Your classroom also is getting kind of live data as well. You get a nice educator dashboard. But let me open things up so you can see a little bit better. But this is my this is my dashboard. So when I log into Tynker, I have the ability here to add classes. And so I can add a class here, and you can see here that I can link Google Classroom first off. So for all of my Google schools, this is super easy, because if I have set up my Google classes, I just click that link and I'll get a little drop down and I'll pick my Google class, and immediately all of them will be imported. So there's no real setup time for my students there. Once you have a course created or a class, you're then have the ability to assign lessons. So now I can do my assigning here, and I have a lot of options. I already have all the hour of code options. This is great. We've put all of our hour of code lessons directly into your class, so students can access them there. It's just super simple. Each week we have weekly projects, so you can assign them if you like. Here's like a Mother's Day project, and this is a new project that has a nice tutorial, and you can assign those directly to your class. If you want to assign new coursework, you can go here. And anyone that the way that I'll show you this kind of how this works for students with Google Classroom. But I'm going to go to, let's say, P101. It's a great course for like 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade here. As a teacher, you can preview all this content yourself. And this is just like we've broken things down really, really nicely for you. Every lesson here is just very detailed. Right here, I can preview any one of these lessons. And then as a teacher, I have these great lesson plans, so I see my introductions, my code blocks, my vocabulary. I can help get myself prepared with some ideas about how to launch these lessons, possible warm-ups. I was a science teacher, so having the vocabulary here will give me an opportunity to introduce it in kind of a fun way. And then I can come up here and I can preview any one of these lessons. Every lesson typically has a final project and a quiz. So you'll see here we have a quiz, and then I do have a project here as well. So there's summative and there's formative assessment. So I can go here. I can take a look at what my final project looks like. And this is what we call the Tynker workshop. So this is where students will build their projects. Right in here. I see there's questions in the chat, and I'm sure sometimes you're going to tell me what they're saying. That's great.
Yeah, in a minute, I'll let you know what's going on.
Sure.
So far, I've been just translating as we go. And I do have some questions of my own too.
No problem. While that's loading, I just wanted to show you a little bit of an idea of what the gradebook looks like. So we have this really cool gradebook. And the reason I like it is because we have this feature called the Concepts Mastery Gradebook, which basically tracks student progress in individual computer science skill. So not just like, did they do a lesson or did they complete a quiz, but where are they in relation to loops and variables and, these very important computer science concepts. And so this will track over time through each course, and not just each course, but year over year. So as they get into Python, JavaScript, we'll actually be able to see, are they mastering these particular concepts? And wow, my internet's kind of slow, but hey, all right. I'll get back to that in just a minute. But you see here, this is the Tynker workshop. We have also made this very comparable. So if you were on a tablet, it looks very similar. On the left here in this tutorial is where our this is where the tutorial kind of lives. You get a model project here with sample code. And then as you build these projects, you'll get some suggestions as to what your code might look like, how you can manipulate your code. And you may actually be able, in some projects, you can actually drag code directly out of the tutorial and into your code editor right here. In the top right, this is what we call the stage. And in the bottom here, these are what we call actors. I can run my code here, and I can use my right arrow and my left arrow to manipulate my actor there. And if I don't like how that goes, I can start playing around with my degrees here. And this is just one sample project as we're building our skills with loops and variables. You can see that. But yeah, let me see my gradebook. I'm going to go back here. So this is my concepts gradebook. So as students are going through projects and they're going through the coursework, you're seeing all of these individual skills like visibility, right? Costume handling, delays, conditional weights. All of those go in kind of a ranking here. And every student here, we can see what their mastery skills are over a period of time. Individual mastery is also tracked. So let's say I have, I've got Andrew. I can see an individual mastery page here. So I can see how Andrew's doing. I can share this with their parents. Here's all of their lesson progress, all of their concepts that they are proficient. And the thing I noticed, and which is pretty cool, is that even after a few weeks, students will start mastering some basic concepts, just like simple motion or animation, those types of things. First grade, second grade, we're already starting to see mastery. Every project one student has done goes to their on their mastery page here, so I can look at any of that. I can see the badges they've earned and all their recent activity. And it's really powerful. It's just, especially if I'm, doing some sort of a parent-teacher conference or something, I just show the mastery progress for that student. Let me go back here. So that's my project. So I can pause here for a second if you have questions. I can answer your questions.
Well, right now, one of the first question they wanted to know is if, where could they have access to the deck you were showing us at the beginning, the slide deck?
I can definitely share that with you. In fact, there may be an online version of it. If you go to tynker.com, let me try it, /brochure. Let's see if that works. I think that does still work. It may be a little outdated, but it pretty much is the same thing. Let me put that in the chat for you.
Yeah, I just found it. And then I did have a question of my own here.
Sure.
No, I was looking that usually I've seen, let's say, other resources related to coding.
Mm-hmm.
What I've just noticed here is that you're really going to the nitty gritty in the end. Let's say when you're like a high school student learning like Python,
yeah,
which I see as I don't know. My question was going as why did you guys, let's say, make it go all the way to like Python? Let's say why Python? Why was that the one I see that I don't know why that a programming language? Let's say.
I would say Python is probably the most popular coding language at this time. And I think that's, we're just, I think, addressing a lot of what we're seeing students in high school want to learn, and then students coming in, computer science in college also wanting to learn. So I think we're addressing that and preparing kids with that. JavaScript is still great. Everyone likes JavaScript, but I think we're just seeing that need. I think we are going to be addressing high school as well. With, in fact, I don't know if you can see it. I think we were teasing the high school courses on our page. I'll see if it's there, maybe in our public page. But at least there used to be a spot. I saw it just a couple weeks ago, where and it's probably not here yet. I don't know. Not yet. I don't think so. But I know we are teasing those high school, and I think Java is actually one of those. And I think that's because in the United States, the Java is like the AP course for high school. So
that and the other thing I was noticing is when you were showing us, let's say, the type of projects you could develop, let's say book reports and timelines and stuff like this. I was thinking about how it related to the concept mastery you were mentioning.
Yeah.
what I see here is that, every teacher does it. There's cause and effect on stories, on timelines, and maybe we just don't know that let's say, cause and effect is pretty much programming, right? If this happens, then this happens. So it's a way of, I see it as a way of integrating, now explicitly these concepts which were previously just implied, and maybe we were not programming, but we were really thinking about, what had happened so that this other thing happened. So I see it as an interesting way of, seeing how computer science does integrate with other subjects.
Yeah, I honestly, it's one of my favorite pieces. And for first of all, Tynker's one of the. I've never seen a company or a curriculum treat coding as though it's a language. And that was kind of one of the founding principles of this coursework, was we view it as a literacy, which I love. And so when you look at it that way, you should be able to apply that literacy in any place. When I was running a STEM lab a few years ago, computer science was always something that we could attach to any project. We could always make some sort of coding option. And so I love that idea. And it's definitely, definitely something that really works.
And we have here, well, it's not a question, but I'm going to make it a question. They're asking us about difficulty when the domain admins do not allow to download any apps. Is an app required to use Tynker?
Only if you're using it on an iPad. So I don't know if you have iPad, if you're an iPad school, if you have those devices, then yeah, they will need the app for that. I believe, and again, this is iPad only, but if you have the new iPad OS, if you've uploaded, if you've updated to the new iPad OS, it's possible that you can, and students can use the web version in like a Safari browser. I've seen that. Some students have success with that. It's not ideal. I mean, the app really is all like the words even say touch and tilt and stuff like that. Some of the blocks were changed for the app, but everything is web-based. So as long as they are able to, get to a browser, they should be okay. Okay,
great.
I do have one other little thing I want to share, and I don't know if this will be relevant to your group or not, but we are testing right now a Spanish language version of Tynker.
Oh, that's definitely important for us.
So right now, the translations are going through a little bit of a just quality assurance testing, and I know that some of them are not perfect, and so, but this is for the K-5 coursework. It's designed so that basically the entire lower grade, the entire K-5 curriculum, if you wanted it to be in Spanish, students could have the Spanish version of it. It's basically all the same content. And as a teacher, this is my teacher dashboard. I can switch back and forth from like Spanish and English translations. And then I think as we even dig deeper into the content, and I'll just use this as an example. The Tynker workshop has been translated. Everything there is there, and I think that can be an option. But keep in mind it's not on iPad or tablets. It's just web only, and so all that is still in progress. But basically, the idea is that by the time fall rolls around, at least that we will have worked out all the different translation issues and things like that. So but I just thought that
it will be available as of the next school year, let's say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because people are already, I know that from the chat that they're willing to beta test it. If you need any beta testers, we can help you out with that.
Oh, good. Yeah. So I mean, here, this entire, the entire workshop has been translated. Occasionally, you see some English pop up here and there where we're still working out some things, but all the actors, the buttons, everything there should be we had a whole bunch of great people do these translations. They were manually translated, so it wasn't just an app or anything like that. So people went through and one by one did that. So anyway, I just thought I'd show that because that's pretty cool.
No, and it really, as well, our viewers are definitely interested in the Spanish version too. We work with schools that are bilingual, so in some cases I'm sure that they are also interested in the English version.
Sure.
But yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. Maybe do you have any like users in Latin America that right now? Or,
yeah, we do. Mm-hmm. I know we do.
Yeah, even of the English version, because I do know a couple schools. Let's say I'm in Colombia right now, and I do know a few schools who are using Tynker in English. But sure. Yeah, as I was telling you, they were bilingual schools. But one of the things you also mentioned before is how you guys see it as it's like teaching a new language. And currently, let's say, I know that here in Colombia, at least where I grew up,
yep.
A couple of years ago, let's say, learning how to speak English was like the thing that schools had to do. And now it's become that it's programming, it's, they say, like, if you really need a language now for the future, it's programming,
Mm-hmm.
All the others are not as important or for the future, let's say. Right. Eventually we'll be able to communicate, but programming is seen as and also as a skill,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's I mean, I don't know. I think even with what's going on in our current situation, with a lot of people having to work from home and learn from home, Tynker has been actually a remote learning platform since we started. So it's always been, one of the nice things about it is the fact that you can do it anywhere, and it's not, you don't have to be in a classroom if you don't want to be. And if students want to investigate and go a little further when they get home or in study hall or wherever they're at, then they have that ability, and nothing's really holding them back per se.
Yeah, I also think that the mastery, what was it? Skills? No, mastery. You showed us the concept mastery. Concept mastery. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Also, how you're telling us that it's got like a follow up over the years, no?
Yeah, as students go through this coursework, they're going to see these concepts more than once, right? They're going to see these come up in every course, really. That computer science has a base of specific, skills like loops and variables and those types of things, but they get more challenging, as you learn more and more skill, and so they're actually connected. So if you see the coursework, you can see that some of this coursework, like the 101s, these are beginners. So you're going to see a lot of beginner concepts there, and when students do those, they're going to kind of get coded as that's a beginner concept. But when they get into the 102s, when you get into intermediate, now that you're going to start getting those critical skills are going to be going up the ladder a little bit. And then by the time they get to like 302, they're starting to see advanced skills, JavaScript, Python, those are advanced. So it kind of works them up that ladder, all the way from, first, second grade. So.
Are there like a paper-based programming activities too? Like maybe stuff that we could print and maybe to just introduce concepts, or?
They're embedded in the lessons. So if you go through, and I know if you go like through actually some of the lesson, you'll see some options for like offline activities. When you preview the lessons, you're like, oh, like look, there's an offline activity. There's not like a separate collection of them somewhere. But I noticed if you look, and you can see sometimes in the warm-ups or in the like wrap-up activities, there's alternative extensions, that you can do so. And sometimes there's printables that link there as well.
Nice. No, yeah, I asked you because I used to teach also programming and these like I used it most as like anchor activities at times, maybe, or as maybe as to refresh some concepts and stuff like that. So we usually sometimes did some of those, or maybe like in station work when we didn't have enough computers, then everybody had a chance to, okay, you gotta use some paper here, and then later you'll go to the computer, and I find them that they are helpful just to reinforce some concepts and also understand simple things just about what an algorithm is, and it's really useful when they're drawing them and okay, I got it. It's a pattern and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and right now with like COVID-19, are you guys do you guys have any like helpful resources for educators that maybe they could use or available?
Well, first of all, they should go. I don't know if there is a link, and I'll put it up here. If you want to request access to Tynker, you can do that. And if I can put it, I'll put it in the chat. You can share it with everyone.
Okay.
I think that may only be going for a few more weeks, though. But request it anyway. Get early access. That way, at least you can try it out, play it out, and it's pretty immediate. You can see all the content there, and you can actually assign it to students and things like that. So definitely that. And then you should really go to our blog. And if you go to the Tynker blog, we have tons of resources. So there's a couple things that I want to just point out there. Let me see here. I'll put that in the chat as well. And we're also doing something new as well. So you'll see just great resources here. There's tips. There's links to the new projects. There's the toolbox, which breaks down some of the new features of Tynker and how to use them. But then also in literally just about a couple hours, we're going to be doing Tynker Live. So what we've been doing there is it's on our YouTube channel. We are doing weekly student projects, and I'll grab you that link for today's. We are literally doing live shows for students. We have here you go. I'll put that in the chat. I'll send that. And this has been a lot of fun. We have a moderated chat. Oh, that was a bad link. Let me try that. Nice. There you go. All right. So in this here, that I put a link in there. In about an hour, we're going to go live. We're going to be doing the Googly Eyes project, which just helps students. We're going to walk through that project. We're going to show them some customizations, and we do this every time. So every project is going to be, every episode is a new project, and it's usually the projects are living right inside your projects folder. So students will show you how to get there. We'll show students some ideas on how to customize it. And there's also a moderated chat. We're not using YouTube chat, and there's a link to that chat right there. And it's just it's really really well done, a lot of fun, and you guys should try that out. So we've been doing that since.
I just shared it on the chat. So I'm hoping you'll get a couple of extra viewers this time from Latin America.
Oh, good. That would be wonderful.
Also, just joining us now is Juan.
Hey, Dan.
Juan. Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, so good. Thanks for asking.
No, thanks for doing this.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Actually, I don't know if maybe Juan missed it, but Dan just mentioned that as of maybe next August, September, Tynker, there will be a Spanish version of Tynker, so which is really cool.
And we didn't know that when we invited you, so that's
you didn't.
News.
But I was able to show a little preview of it. So.
Oh, that's great. Okay, awesome. So I don't know if I'm interrupting or at what time. No, were you finishing?
We were just about to finish anyway.
So, great. Okay.
Yeah. You joined just in time for it.
Great. No, great. And I know that you probably already told about opening Tynker for schools now that they're closed. Until what date is that open?
Well, technically it's May 31st, but I think if you get in there now and you to get some good usage, you can get an extension for a little while. So so definitely fill out. I did put the link in the chat so that folks can have that. Fill that out, and then dig in for a couple weeks, and then request an extension.
Okay.
So all right.
Sounds good, for sure.
I just reminded them then about the due date, May 31st being the limit. But no, I think it was great getting to see everything that you guys are doing. Some things I had no idea about, such as the concept mastery, which I think is like amazing to have such a good follow-up on concepts for students. Also that the fact that you guys are going all the way into Python at the end, which is, as you were saying, really preparing kids for the future. Well, the present, I'd say, actually, because that's what's going on now. But I think these are like great tools that you guys have, and hopefully we'll get some more teachers to to start using coding as part of their lessons and integrate it to other subjects.
Yeah, and after we're done, I want to make sure I'll send you a message. I just want to make sure that those folks that really are interested in the Spanish version, we may be able to either get you some early access just to play around. So I'll send you a follow-up email and see if we can see who's interested in checking that out. All right.
Yeah, for sure. No, we'd love to. Because I think more and more we talked about the soft skills or the 21st century skills. It's just regular people working and living in the 21st century now. We have to have them, and they're as important as any other skill. And I think what I like about Tynker is that it makes it accessible, and it's I think teachers usually see technology like this separate subject and something that's outside of their reach. It's too complicated, but you gamify it, make it fun and accessible, and that's really cool.
Yeah, that's the goal. We want anybody. I mean, one of our little hashtags is every teacher can code and every student can code. We always like to remind everybody that it's just anyone can do this. It really is possible. You don't have to get a whole new, teaching certificate just to integrate this into your coursework. So it's a lot of fun.
Great. Thanks. And and that's usually one of the limits that teachers see. They're like, I can't do this, or how long will it take me to learn how to code so that I can then teach coding?
Yeah, not necessary.
You learn with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we've got a question here for you related to how do you see Khan Academy's coding compared to Tynker's?
Yeah, no problem. I mean, there's a few different things, right? So one is kind of this focus on mastery. And that's one of the things I mentioned earlier, just the complete path from pre-K that slowly builds skill all the way into, using block coding, and then moving into syntax, and then moving into advanced. So we have that complete pipeline. The other thing is the STEM integration, right? So that's another huge that's something that I often start to hear that in the middle grades, where teachers are trying to figure out, how do we make computer science happen in the middle grades? Well, let's do a social studies project or an English project. Now you have a really great layer, and this is where integration and coaching, I think, you start to see kind of a bigger need for those roles. And then the other piece is diversity of content. If you look at Tynker's content and you just start having fun with it. And one of the things I noticed, most, and again, I can't really speak for a lot of our competitors other than what I hear from other educators. After people usually go to Tynker after they've tried other tools for about a year, and they go, we're just ready for something else, and we're ready for the next step. And that's what I always hear. Why'd you come to Tynker? We were ready for the next thing. We were ready for mastery. We were ready for those things. So that's how I would, kind of describe that. Diversity of content. Try a course, play with it, and see, and then try another one and see. It's a totally new experience, different characters, different fun.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even see Khan Academy as competitors because we use it all the time in science and math, but it's something supplemental. So you could have like a core guided curriculum, and then some students are going to go beyond, or are going to have extra time, or are going to try out different projects, and they can check them out. But I think one can complement the other, and Khan Academy is free, so you could have take a look at other lessons, but you can have Tynker as like your guiding program, right, as a core. Because I don't really see that they compete. It's like we have schools that have textbooks or digital books, and they watch a video on Khan Academy on a particular math thing. So it's they can work really well, I think.
Yeah, you have a good point. I think even my own child will use Khan Academy, and that very same reason, right? Well, today I went on Khan Academy and I learned because I was confused about something. So
yeah, agreed.
Good point.
Yeah, no, well, then thank you very much. Then I think we had like a great overview of everything Tynker does, and as I told you, I'm looking forward to having more people get into it. And let us know if anybody joins the chat. We'll let them know to maybe tell you, hey, I come here from Nivela's chat. So.
Oh, well, thank you. And again, thank you. Appreciate you guys having us on. Thanks everyone in the chat. Looking forward to chatting more with you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thanks. Take care.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bueno, Juan. Nos acompañaste de cierre, ¿qué tal?
Pues qué bueno, qué gusto.
No, la verdad es que estuvo interesante todo lo que hace Tynker. La verdad es que fue una sorpresa lo que viene en español. Ahí él nos dio un overview, te lo perdiste, pero pues está todo traducido. Y pues eso le comenté, como había interés acá en el chat, pues yo le comenté eso, le dije, pues mira, si hay que probarlo, con mucho gusto. Sabemos que lo que hay es interés por eso.
Somos su conejillo de indias que nos aviente y lo revisamos. Sí, claro.
Exacto. Y ¿qué más? Espérate, yo sé que tenía unos pendientes por aquí porque Dominique me dejó una tarea.
Esa Dominique.
Sí.
Deja mucha tarea.
Tarea que nos dejó Dominique. Teníamos, una pregunta que nos hicieron, Google Meet con audio, y la otra pregunta que teníamos, Google Meet con audio, ven y la respondemos rápidamente. Esa nos la hizo Ana Luisa, creo. No.
Pero, ¿cuál es la pregunta específica?
¿Cómo se puede escuchar el audio en los Meets de Google? Porque es que hace poco pusieron ahora la opción de tab que uno puede con una pestaña compartir. Espérate, vamos a ver aquí, mira. Compartir el audio durante una reunión.
A ver, esa no me la sé.
Esa está aquí, mira.
Compartir el audio del computador. El audio interno. Ya.
Exacto, mira, aquí está. Vamos a ver.
Ahora vas a tener que mostrar tu pantalla.
Exacto. Sí, creo que aquí vamos bien ya. Tengo como 1000 pestañas, no sé cuáles, pero ya esta sí.
Esa fue.
Aquí, mira, dale, nos unimos y el cuento esto fue reciente, yo creo que fue como la semana pasada, o hace 2 semanas, algo así, al momento en las más opciones. Espérate, ¿dónde está? No, perdón, presentar ahora, sí es presentar ahora, en pestaña. Entonces, ahí está. Para video, aquí, entonces ahí en teoría sí sale el audio.
Ya, pero el audio tiene que estar viniendo de esa ventana. O sea, si uno tiene otro video de YouTube abierto, no se va a escuchar.
Exacto, solo el de esa pestaña.
Es un pasito.
Exacto. Entonces, esa era la respuesta que teníamos para Creo que era María del Rosario, ahora toca verificar, espérate, confirmo.
Sí, María del Rosario. Justo ella estaba comentando que es cuando presentas el video se entorpece la escucha. Sí, porque estás tomando el audio de tus bocinas internas, no es lo ideal, ¿no? Pero así,
Exacto.
si estás mostrando el video ya se va a escuchar mejor.
Sí, esa era. Hubo otra pregunta, ahora no recuerdo cuál era la pregunta. El lunes creo que la responderemos entonces, cuando me confirmen Dominique. De resto pues ya nos vamos de despedida hoy. Feliz Día de las Madres a las madres.
Sí, se celebra creo que en todos lados. Allá, ¿qué día es?
El domingo.
El domingo, pero siempre cae en domingo.
Sí, segundo domingo de mayo, siempre.
Sí, ahora casualmente va a caer igual que en México, que es el 10, pero bueno, nosotros siempre es el 10, no importa, o sea, sí, qué día de la semana sea. Así que sí, saludos a todas las madres.
Sí, nos vemos la semana entrante. La semana entrante vamos a tener ya el descuento que invitados tenemos de FET, de las simulaciones, entonces nos van a estar hablando de ese tema. Que pronto no lo hemos tocado, pero lo hemos recomendado bastante en estos días. Varias veces nos preguntan y decimos, usen FED, prueben FED, pero bueno, ya tenemos formación FED para que tengan ahí su taller.
Sí.
También es Día del Profesor la semana entrante.
Sí, bueno, doble, triple felicitación. Todas se las merece.
Podemos tener algo con el profesor Girafales y doña Florinda, ¿viste?
¿Verdad? Ya arruinaste los invitados sorpresa. No,
sí, sí. No, ya eso, o sea, la semana entrante vamos a tener fijo, tenemos FED, vamos a tener otras sesiones que viene también, George Bárcenas va a volver, y estamos por confirmar unas cuantas sesiones adicionales de unos proyectos de innovación que van a compartirnos. Y por último, también vamos a tener, estamos tratando de organizar una mesa redonda relacionada a como los cambios que han habido en cuanto a la educación a distancia ahorita, y cómo lo han estado manejando diferentes colegios. Entonces, ideas y todo eso.
Sí, ya vimos que George ya se convirtió en un favorito del público, pero ya es un consentido, ¿eh?
Sí, aquí ya mejor dicho lo tienen, siempre están esperándolo.
Sí, pues muy bien, nos dará mucho gusto verlo.
Pues sí, y bueno, pues ya, entonces no siendo más, nos despedimos. Entonces, nos vemos todos la semana.
Gracias, Fede.
Chao, gracias a ti,
Chao.
Juan.
Buen día.